Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Absinthe Minded. I'm, as always, your Absinthe Minded professor. Today, we're going to revisit Honeoye Falls Distillery. We're going to try La Cascade Rouge this time. Unlike the Verte, this is hibiscus, so it should be a little bit different in terms of flavor profile. As I said with the Verte, it was a good absinthe. I liked the overall flavor, but it was a little bit mild, so we're going to do the traditional kind of absinthe glass today. And again, we pour basically into the bottom line, and then we have our handy dandy dripper, and then we'll add our water and let it drip, and then give it a try. Now, I'll be curious to see how the color changes, because one thing I haven't talked about yet is the louche idea. It's the same thing with ouzo, where when you add water, it becomes very milky, very cloudy. That's pretty much because the anise and then the phenol are separating from the alcohol. So as it's hydrated, it becomes cloudy. This one definitely looks a lot cloudier than the Verte. So that probably means that this might have more of anise and phenol flavor. So if you love licorice, for example, black licorice, you'll probably like the Rouge more. And I'm curious to see if I will, because this is a lot cloudier than the Verte. So this to me means that it's probably going to be a heavier phenol and anise flavor, which I prefer, because that was part of my problem with the Verte. And again, not really a problem, but definitely something that I want more of in absinthe. But it makes sense, because if it's an American company trying to introduce absinthe to American audiences who are unfamiliar with absinthe, it makes sense that they're going to reduce the anise, reduce the phenol flavor. This one might be a little bit more potent. I think the alcohol content is about the same. 140 proof, 70% alcohol by volume. So it's the same amount of alcohol. But again, notice how this is a lot cloudier. If you go back to the Verte taste experiment, a lot cloudier than this one. So I'm much more eager to try this. So once this is done, we'll see if I'm right. I'll also be curious to see if the hibiscus comes through at all. I do like hibiscus. There's a lot of great microbrews that are doing wonders with hibiscus and beer, especially hibiscus and ciders. So I'm very curious to see how this goes. No matter what, it's going to be better than the Mephisto absinthe, because again, I do not buy that. Oh man. Okay, yeah, so this definitely smells a lot more of the anise than I was getting with the Verte. Okay, yeah, so this tastes more like a traditional absinthe that is, again, heavy anise, heavy phenol flavor. This would be, I think, the next step. So if you introduce somebody to absinthe using Verte and they like it, see what they think of this. This could be the breaker moment where if they really don't like that licorice flavor, they're going to be turned off by it. But if they like the Verte with that mildness, this is, again, a very mild absinthe. It's not super strong with the anise flavor, but it is much more potent than the Verte. So it might be a good idea, if you're introducing someone to absinthe, start with La Cascade Verte. If they like it, move on to the Rouge. But if you like a more traditional absinthe, I would recommend going for the Rouge first and actually just bypass the Verte. As I said, the Verte is good. It's just mild. This is pretty much, if you're an absinthe drinker, this is the flavor that a lot of people want, because this is the more traditional flavor. And again, it's much cloudier than the Verte. Yeah, that is very good, and I think it is superior to the Verte. I would buy this again, whereas the Verte, I wouldn't buy for myself, I would buy for other people. So again, I think Honeoye Falls is doing a lot of great things with absinthe. I hope, again, we have more absinthe to choose from in America. There's a few more, of course, of American absinthes. I haven't tried it as a taste experiment, but this is a good one. So I would recommend this to both first-time absinthe drinkers and experienced absinthe drinkers. All right, class, dismissed. See you next time. So what's my final grade? A-. It has a well-rounded flavor. I really appreciate the combination of anise, fennel and hibiscus. I could definitely sense the hibiscus at the end of each sip. It's definitely suitable for beginners and experienced fans. I think if you like absinthe, you're going to like and appreciate what this distillery is trying to do with contemporary American absinthe. I still want a little bit more of the hibiscus. I think that would actually create a very unique absinthe rather than a more traditional one. So I think they could really go a little bit more with hibiscus, which is why it's not a perfect A. I would buy this again, and definitely I would buy for other people as well as myself. So again, this is why I think it's a little bit stronger than the Verte itself overall.